Yeah.
Good point.
Right.
Is this the Everrise guys?
Oh,
What's up, guys?
Would you look at that.
All right.
Oh, yeah, we got a clap going. We got a clap
Dude,
going.
these guys got this is very professional. You guys
you
have
know?
kind of like a studio setting. You're drinking coffee.
This is our studio.
You would think.
Is that a Montreal Expos hat?
It is.
So
It
you're
is.
presenting the shelf as good.
Wow, old
True
school
blood
Montreal Expo hat.
Canadians. You guys are
We're still
obviously
bitter over the
Canadians.
loss, you know?
You know, the
Proud
the
Canadians.
94 best team in baseball, and the strike ruined it for everybody.
That's the original screw job.
And what about Vladimir Guerrero Jr.?
He's killing it,
What a thing to
He's
see.
killing it.
right?
Disco has a theory that most Canadians have a missing chromosome, i.e., Lance Storm, Chris Jericho, Vampiro, and Teddy Hart.
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
Okay, here's my point. Yeah, but
And Don Callis.
Let me clarify.
Well
There's
done.
something. There's at least one thing off with every Canadian I've ever met.
Something.
Perfect example. Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Hip rocker, something, but like when we were in WCW, his clothes would never match his gimmick when we went out. Would you agree with that, Konnan?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I'm guilty of that big time too.
Okay, you're guilty of that too. All right. So this is Everrise. They're from NXT and the reason you're on this show right now. Do you listen to the show, by the way, ever?
Absolutely.
I definitely watch all the clips on YouTube.
Buddy back
Okay.
home, Enzo, huge fan.
Oh yeah.
Always
tremendous.
talking
This guy is thrilled that we're on right now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So mutual
What's his
friend.
name so we can shout him out?
Enzo.
Enzo Falcone.
Enzo Falco, Paisan.
Yes,
he is.
Disco. Yes.
Big,
Yeah. So Carrying Cross, mutual
Yeah.
friend of ours,
Yeah.
recommends that we should have these guys on. Okay. So, all right. I watch NXT.
Right.
Okay. Beyond what I've seen of you guys performing, I don't know much about either of you guys, but
Yeah.
I really shouldn't. You guys are NXT guys, you know something. I want to ask you this. All right. You from my perception of a guy that's like been behind the scenes of creative writing and stuff, everything. I looked at you guys' characters in NXT, and they were basically presented you guys as, no offense, but as jobbers.
it's true.
That's 100%
That's-
exactly what it was.
But what
Yeah.
they did
accurate.
is for the first time ever, they decided, okay, let's make a gimmick out of the jobbers. Like, why are these guys jobbers? Why are these guys? And I watch you guys work. A lot of Larry Zbyszko, yelling at a lot of Larry Zbyszko, very animated, very kind of over the top. Took good bumps, made the other guys look good, everything. And I'm just wondering, like, were there
Plus,
ever?
the best part were the backstage stuff they did.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So my question is, was the creative conversations in like, okay, you guys are jobbers, but we're going to make a gimmick out of the jobbers and show why you guys are jobbers and show like you're jerks and do vignettes and stuff like that. So was that the creative discussion that actually
That's
happened?
actually exactly what it was. It was
Yeah.
the whole working idea behind it was you start as these like kind of background characters, which is why we were doing all this stuff, just kind of sticking our nose in places backstage, and then you'd
Right.
go on TV and you'd lose.
Yeah, and like the audience would over time grow and hopefully fall in love with these characters, right?
Right.
And so this was the idea that we had pitched when we came into the company 2
Yep.
years ago, because how do you stand out in NXT? It's just the greatest athletes in the world, right? For the most part.
Right.
So you got to figure out a way. How do I navigate
To
these
be
waters?
different,
Yeah,
and you
exactly.
were, and that was the main thing that was so good to us because we like good comedy. And you were doing. There's nothing worse than bad comedy,
Right.
It's
and
rough.
you were doing good comedy,
And
which
there's a
made
lot
us
of that on
pop.
the show too.
Yeah. But we always knew that, like, give us 30 seconds and we'll make whatever 30 seconds we're in. And that's all we need. We don't need to wrestle for 15 minutes. Give us 30 seconds, make an ass of ourselves or
That's it.
somebody else, and sip from a mug and move on.
Sip from the mug, just something that somebody's going to remember.
Right.
Let me say this. When I look at the two of you, okay, is that if you guys had like had the long hair and everything, and like had your personality but had the long hair, you would be like what everybody thinks the Young Bucks should be like. Jerks. You guys
get
are
a lot of
obnoxious
those comparisons.
before you. So but I'm saying you had the personality of the guy of like what they should be like.
Yeah.
So when I see you guys worked in the ring, right? I told Cole because we started reviewing NXT. And I was like, watch you guys. They give you a ring entrance, everything, and you go out there and lose like a minute and a half. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so, like, what was that? Then you have a match that'll be 5 minutes. Everything. I'm watching. I'm like, you know what? From a booking set, these guys are entertaining when they're out there. They're good. They're taking good bumps. They're animated. They're like, they're animated, but not over the top, Memphis corny and stuff. You guys are like two obnoxious Canadian guys. So I'm like watching this and go like, when these guys were on TV, I'm watching this. I don't care who they're with. I know they put the other guys over, but like I'm watching. Funny thing, Terry, Terry Taylor, right?
Oh,
just so you know,
Terry
just so you know.
To us.
All right, well, Terry the Stooge Taylor, but let me tell you something. this, just so you know about this interview, when you're trying to talk over disco, it's almost like double Dutch. You gotta jump in there when you can. So
I'm gonna talk.
So you just cut him off. Is what you're saying.
But I'm just wondering.
Right, exactly.
I'm wondering if you had the same conversation I had with Terry Taylor 20-something years ago.
Oh, tell us.
Is Terry Taylor, when he watched me work, okay, he would tell me, is like, bro, I'm watching you getting beat up more than I'm watching the guy like beating you up. Okay. Yes. And I'm wondering if like Terry's had that conversation with you guys, because when I'm watching you guys in the match, I know you guys are losing, but I'm focused on your work instead of the other guys because you work the way, like you're more visual presenting. Did you hear that conversation with Terry Taylor?
Yes, yeah. First off, thanks. That's a huge compliment, to be honest.
Did you see? I mean, you must have seen it. The gift that was going around of taking the elbow from Paul Orndorff,
right?
Right?
Yeah, of course, right.
But we absolutely did have a lot of conversation like that with Terry. Was like he would always say like, and we understood our role. That was, I think, another thing is we always went into these matches knowing what our role was. We know that this is a long-term story that we're trying to tell, and this is like it's not going to happen on one night where we go and do all of our cool moves and we're over.
It's a slow burn, right?
Yeah. So we'd always say like, the business. This one's not about you, but that doesn't mean you can't make people watch you.
Right,
and that's it.
1,000%.
That was the frustrating part about getting released is we were just laying the groundwork on these characters, and it was going to pay off.
Yeah,
going back to fans, there's no question in my mind that this was going to pay off, and then they just took the rug from underneath us.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, please. Let's get
how
into
many people? Okay, so when you're in NXT, okay, when NXT was open for business pre-pandemic, you were there and everything. Well, what's the protocol? Does everybody have to show up to the training facility every day? Like, where were you?
You want to hear a day?
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
We have no clue what goes on there.
This was our every week for the better part of 6 months.
6 months, yeah, easily.
Monday morning, 8:30, in the ring for 2 hours with Norman Smiley, who is a fantastic technical wrestling wizard.
Friend of ours, of course.
He's not even our friend. He's our brother, bro.
Right. Yeah. He's a wizard. Like, does not get the credit that he deserves. Like, everybody remembers Screaming Norman, right? Taking the bumps in WCW, wearing the football helmet. An absolute genius.
You just go in there and tie up, and he put you into places of putting him in a hold. And I'm just like, how the fuck did I just get here?
What just happened?
I don't know.
What just happened?
So that would be 2 hours in the morning, say 8:30 to 10:30. Then you would have.
Let me see this. Wait.
And he doesn't like. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, let me see. 8:30.
Yeah.
You show up. How many people are there?
So we're probably 12 or 13 an hour class.
And then there's so at the time there was like 8 rings in the place.
Yeah.
And maybe 3 are full, right?
Wait, so how many people are present?
50?
Yeah, give or take.
Okay, all right. So 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
50 people show up. How many of these people are actively performing on NXT?
On the television program?
Like you guys were doing it. How many of the 50 people, how many are performing in NXT?
Oh boy. Yeesh. Maybe some of the girls were training.
Yeah.
More than half or less than half?
I'd say
less than half. 100% less than half.
Okay, so let's say 20 people are actively NXT performers.
Because
15 people, okay, and 35 are not on NXT, but they're there to train.
Right, because these guys like Gargano and Tommaso and them, they're not training anymore, right?
Yeah, but are they showing? Are they one of the 50 people that shows up at 8:30?
No, those guys.
Okay, right. Okay, so
guys
you have your guys, the regular performers. They're coming out every once in a while. They're on the show, but you guys are the workhorse. Like we're first in. We're at 8:30.
You first got there. They got to separate the wheat from the chaff, right? To see.
Oh yeah, you're a bitch, right? When you get there, you're a bitch. You're the new guy.
Yeah, they're taking full advantage of your time at all purposes. Which I mean, truthfully, look, that's the way it works. Yeah. Like we all got in different ways, but like you had to work your ass off and put up rings and do shit that you didn't want to do. It wasn't just show up, get booked. Yeah,
and it's also like, I mean, we've been wrestling for 20 years at this point, but there's guys who it's their first day.
You've been wrestling for how long?
We're 20 years.
20 years. We're a little older.
Really?
Where were you before?
Wow,
this?
you look way younger.
Yeah, started.
I still hit it,
guys.
It's that Canadian healthcare.
Yeah, that's what it is, and probably
why. How old are you?
37.
Yeah.
Wait, so you were teenager. How old are you? 37. Both of you 37?
Yeah, we're both 37. Yeah.
Yep.
So you started 17 years old.
Yeah.
Yes.
2001.
Yeah.
Like the week after 9/11.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, who did you start training with? Like you guys were under 18,
Mark, the Grizzly. I'm sure you're familiar.
You ever heard of Mark the Grizzly?
Everyone's heard of Mark the Grizzly.
How much did you pay him? I paid $3,500.
$30 a week. It wasn't bad. Yeah. Pretty reasonable.
$30 a week?
Yeah.
That's it?
That's
it. That was it. Sometimes we had a show on a Saturday. We'd stay after, and we'd wrestle in the ring.
We didn't even learn how to wrestle in a ring.
No. Guys, you want the story?
It was in this little room on top of like a community center, maybe a 10 by 10 room with these really hard like amateur wrestling gym mats on the floor, and that's where we learned to wrestle. And every 2 weeks they would have a show, and we got to get ring time after the show.
To wrestle till like 5 a.m, take down the ring, and then go to work on Sunday morning. You know, that's what you did. It's just what you did because you loved it. You know.
So let's fast forward to get back to NXT.
Yeah. Let's talk about the good stuff.
8:30, you do a couple hours of Norman Smiley. 10:30, what happens? All right, what happens?
So then you shoot over to go get a lift in the gym. That's probably about an hour.
That was 90 minutes back.
90 minutes back. Yeah.
Wait, this is a scheduled 90 minutes, or
so everything's scheduled. Yeah,
this is like pro sports. This is like a training camp. Like a schedule.
It's exactly what it is. Like your whole day is planned for you. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
Full.
All right, so you do the workout. What do you do next?
So then you would probably
now more people showing up now.
Yeah,
there's different classes going on at the whole time, right?
Okay, all right.
So you'd have kind of like, let's say the morning shift would go into the gym, and then the next shift would come in to start their ring training. So it kind of works like a factory. It's
staggered throughout the day, like a shift. So then what would happen? We'd break. We'd have like an hour break, go for lunch, and then
sometimes you'd have Skull, so you get some lunch, and then you go and do like film study for another couple of hours.
There's film study with. Film study with who?
Whoever your coach is at the time. So
who's your coach? Who are your coaches?
So if you're with Norman, you do it with Norman. If you're with Terry Taylor, you do Skull with Terry Taylor. Fit Finley is with Fit Finley.
Scotty Too
Hottie. Steve Carino. We've done Matt Bloom. And then you have guests.
So give me all the. You got Robbie Brookside. Who else is down there? Who else?
Let me see. Johnny Moss went back over to the UK.
Who's Johnny Moss? I don't know. I've never heard of Johnny Moss. Do you know Johnny Moss?
He's an English fella.
Yeah. Oh, you're not English from the UK. All right, cool.
Yeah. Right. Steve Carino's over there.
So you got Scotty Too Hottie, Ace Steel,
one
of the newer additions. Serena Deep was a coach at the time when we started as well.
Who's coaching the girls now?
Now you have
just
Sarah. Brian Kendrick is doing it as well.
Brian Kendrick's a coach down there.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he just transitioned from.
This
wrestling.
Is like okay. So this was fascinating to me, right? You have this ridiculously professional system, right? Set up. It's like a factory.
Yep.
Okay. And like, unfortunately, you guys because there's so many people in the factory, they cycle people through, and it's cycle whatever. Okay, we don't need these guys anymore. Let's cycle more through. So you guys got cut, right? Which is like okay, whatever. But that's if you have a factory, that's what's going to happen. Like
it's just what it is. Part of the business.
Sure. It's part of the business, right? But it's like what I'm wondering is like, what's the mindset down there? When you guys are all in this and like you get in conversation with each other, like after your training and stuff, when you see what they do with the talent that they bring up to the show, and it's like just every guy that seems to come out of this system that everybody puts all this hard work and effort into, it's just devalued when they go up to the main roster.
Are we talking about Cross in particular right now?
I mean, we're talking about
just everybody in general.
Everybody in general, though. Cross is the reason we think of Cross because he's our friend, but it's like I look back like, well, this is no really different than anybody else they've done.
it feels like NXT is the morale like their island. You know, it's its own island, and like, part of me wonders, okay, and this is just me being a conspiracy theorist guy.
Put the tinfoil hat on.
Yeah, put the tinfoil hat on.
You guys work there, so you're
right.
You're in the. We're outside the box. So I was like, okay.
I wonder maybe if this is part of the rivalry between Vince and Triple H. I don't know.
We discussed
That's what
that.
we said.
Right.
That's and it's just a philosophical difference between like where Vince McMahon is an old school. Bro, I had the ultimate warrior,
giant,
Roddy Piper, giant, and like he's seen the people that are coming up through the system is like he's immediately going to react like, well, these are like the guys that I like just a constant.
And not only that, I also think it's a big battle between two alpha males where Vince is like, you haven't taken over yet, bitch. This is still my fucking company. You know?
Yeah, I gotta believe that's a part.
So to go back to the conspiracy theorists, the tinfoil hat here. So they cut Joe, right? And then Hunter immediately signs him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And now in my mind, I'm like, maybe that pissed Vince off. And maybe he's gonna say, this is all part of the rivalry. I don't know.
Bro,
that's me being crazy.
We did not think of that angle.
You couldn't discount that. It's plausible.
Here was my angle.
Possibility,
right?
Because you think of all the possibilities because we watched it, and everybody's looking like you're scratching your head, going, "Why on earth did they do that?" And like so, I'm thinking from a booking standpoint. Right. Okay. And I'm thinking the old school guys, like you got Bruce there and stuff like that. I'm just wondering if they're thinking like, okay, this guy hadn't lost a match yet. We're going to beat him to test him and see how he reacts. That's
what it was, right?
But of course it does.
But why test him in his debut match against a guy who's lost against everybody? Do it another way or do it later, bro. I just think that here's a guy that you could have had ready for Roman, you could have ready for Cena, you could have ready for Brock, you could have ready for Lashley. It's a credible, believable guy that you can make big money with, and this is how you're going to beat him. Whatever, and I don't care what you say. The end doesn't justify the means to me.
Of course, and I said this to Cross the other day. I go, because he's been dealing with this for a couple of weeks, right? He's been up there doing dark matches or main event matches or whatever. I go, none of this matters right now. None of it matters because in 3 weeks you'll beat Sheamus or somebody and you'll be the champion and everything will be great. You know what I mean?
For example, I always bring up like every guy they seem to bring in, Vince is immediately just trying to devalue him and seeing how the person reacts. For example, bro, when what happened when they brought Bobby Lashley in? That was like confusing. Like, what are you doing with this guy? It's like, it's like, and then all of a sudden,
the guy was bending over and showing his hams and his ass.
It took him a year to figure out. Shit, this guy should be our champion.
Yeah, right.
It's like more than you told you that when you brought the guy in.
Bobby Lashley being back.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think there's also such a divide between what you look at as NXT as a product and what, just take the in-ring, for example. It's such a divide between what you do on the main roster. So you just take a main event from any takeover compared to, let's just use the last main event and Money in the Bank. And that is two complete different worlds, right?
Let me ask you a question, though. Because here's the thing. We watched the NXT work, okay? Very, very microscopic detail. Like I see you guys like, hey, when you got the guys, just like everything is very clinical, like the work is very
done with the fingers, stuff like that.
Right. Just stuff that you watch it very like it's very, very, but then you get the main roster. It's like, okay, we have these skills, but it's like, but we don't need all these skills on the main roster, but you still, this is where I'm not going to disagree with you guys, but I don't think the work on the main roster is that far different. I just think the thing is like an NXT, they'll give guys, 12, 13, 14 minutes that they give the main roster. Okay, these guys are only 6 or 7 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they can't 100%. Get into the type of work that they do, but they can do it. Which is why I think that the work on which is why I think the work on WWE is very clean. It's very professional.
When everybody's staying in their lane is what you're saying, right?
Right.
Like, yeah.
When you guys watch, you guys being NXT, you guys watch TV and stuff.
Sure.
Do you think there's a visual difference in the work with like the WWE system and the AEW guys, which are basically kind of like indie guys that are elevated to the main roster and they haven't gone through the WWE system and worked on these details like you guys have? So do you guys visually see that?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, look, there's a specific. I don't know how to word this, but when I watch, let's say, Dark, right? I'll put it on and I'll just sit there and watch for 45 minutes or whatever. I can tell who's been through the system and who hasn't.
Yeah.
Right.
It's exactly what you just said. I'm not saying anything different, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it is. I can't even put my finger on it. There's a presence and maybe a calmness.
So let me ask you a question. I heard this. I had not heard about this, but today, Disco read me this report, and I don't know how much of it is true, and if it is, if you could expand on it.
Sure.
Where I guess Adam Cole did some sort of interview on Kevin Cross, and maybe Kevin got hot, and maybe backstage kind of, asked him about it or something like that. Do you know anything about this?
No, there's no way that's true.
I didn't see it.
I didn't see it, but
I feel like
my gut instinct says there's no chance that's true. And I can't see Kevin cornering Cole on, like, he wouldn't take it personally. I don't think anyway. I don't know.
Was I correct in the way I stated that? Disco?
This is one of the dirt sheet sites reported this because they were talking about Cross having heat, and it's like they said, but like, and then we see him getting beat on TV, and like they're trying to tie the report to it in, and I'm just wondering if Cross had any heat there, but like I haven't heard anything.
There's no way. How can he have heat? Like this guy's like the perfect employee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's no way. Heat.
Yeah, I
heat
can't
for what?
see that happening at all. Plus,
right, and it's the same thing. It's funny because I remember like when they were doing all this stupid bullshit with my boy John Morrison at first, because me and Disco always, if somebody's getting buried, we always say he's got heat.
Yeah.
Okay, we always say that. And when Morrison was getting beat, I was like, bro, there's no way this guy could have heat. I've worked with him in so many places, and he's worked for me.
It doesn't make sense, right?
Right. Why are you
doing?
Sweetheart.
Like,
right. Why are you doing? Right. Why?
Yeah, but
right. Why
you never
you?
know.
And beautiful hair and a great tan, by the way. Delicious tan. I would say delicious.
Let me give you a story.
I'd still hit it. Yeah.
Let me give you guys a story though.
Yeah.
Because this is like, you never know. Okay, where heat is, because heat could be. If you look at like the pyramids of like the gangsters, like you see the tree, like the John Gotti and stuff, you can't see any heat like in the bottom of the tree, but when you get to the top, like the top two names, there was heat there, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
So I always look at like a situation where you just wonder if if somebody pissed off. Like the conversation, like they had one bad conversation with the guy. And I'm going to tell you this story. And like God rest his soul in peace. This is Adam Pearce, who's one of the trainers down there, right? I don't think anybody really knows this. But remember when Adam Pearce was in TNA, Impact, everything, and they were doing the gut check?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I remember gut check, sure.
And Adam Pearce, everybody and their mother thought this guy, talent-wise, he was a shoo-in and was going to get the nod, right? So he didn't get it, right? So I was good friends with Bob Ryder. I've always kept in touch with him and stuff and all that, right? So Bob Ryder told me, it's like Adam Pearce, during this course of him like doing the gut check thing, trying to get a job, he complained to Bob Ryder about his travel.
And that was
Bob Ryder went like, so I'm saying, bro, this guy's busy. And then what happened? Bro, there's little things like that nobody ever knows and stuff.
Know, right?
And you always wonder, like things like that, how, and think about how little conversations.
I got a funny story for you.
You can say, go ahead. I want to hear it.
Okay, so this is beginning of the pandemic, right? I think this is the first week that they're doing Raw, SmackDown, and all that stuff at the PC. So we get a call. This is Monday afternoon. Nobody told us, but we're booked that night against the Good Brothers, right? Against Gallows and Anderson
for main event.
On main event. Okay, so we get to the PC, and Kevin Owens wants to introduce us to Paul Heyman. So we go in. You're going to meet Paul, and Paul stands up, and he extends his hand. He goes, "Nice to meet you." And I go, "Whoa." I go, what are the rules? It's COVID. I don't know what's going on. Are we supposed to shake? Are we not supposed to shake? Like a complete buffoon, guys. A complete buffoon, The man extends his hand. You just shake it. We had a great laugh. It became a thing, but that could have been one of those things. Who knows, right?
You knew. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Bro, let me tell you something. Because I've been in booking I've been in the room with Russo and Ed Ferrara and WCW. I've been in the room with Jeff Jarrett, Dutch, and everything. I know these are how these things happen. Because like you all you have to do is say something that turns the people in charge off.
Yeah,
and then honestly, it's a very weird thing to think that that every professional wrestler should know this. Because like every time everybody I've trained. Like I've trained Cross, I've trained Chris Bay, I've trained I've trained those guys. I always tell them okay, these are because I know all these guys. These are what the guys in charge like.
Yeah.
This is what Don Callis likes. This is what Konnan likes. This is what Hunter likes. This is what they. I try to teach you to try to get these people to try to get you hired.
Yeah, for sure.
And something. So it's like it's very weird.
What are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to walk on eggshells the whole time and not be yourself and not be comfortable? Like
that's the problem,
right?
bro. These guys are so petty. It almost you almost have to be, bro.
Yeah, I do.
Actually,
it's certainly when you're new, of course. Like
I don't know.
It's something, bro. It's like anything else. It's like it's insulated into the system. It's part of the system. Yeah. It's almost like the atmosphere of fear has been fostered and permeated. So, bro, I remember going to WWE, and I used to get so hot because Eddie would go, "There's Hunter." Eddie Guerrero would be like, "There's Hunter. Go shake his hand." And I go, "Bro, he's fucking eating." He goes, "Yeah, I know what I'm telling you. Go shake his hand." I go, "No, I'm not gonna go fucking shake his hand. He's eating."
Yeah.
And
that's
and
the
so,
worst. Don't bother me when I'm eating.
But Eddie's been there long enough to know that if I don't go shake his hand, whether he's eating or not, I probably will get heat with him. And I was trying to get a job, right? Yeah. And he would tell me, "Hey," because I said something out loud, and he said, "Bro, don't say nothing because the fucking walls have ears." He was very paranoid, and I was like, I don't want to work in a place like this. Right. I don't perform well like that because I'm kind of rebellious by nature.
I mean, how could you? And sometimes you're there a while, you forget that that's how it is, right? You get comfortable, I guess.
I remember when one of our first weeks, Norman told us as a group, he just goes, "You have to understand that someone's pointing a gun at you at all times. You got to do everything you can to not give them the bullets.
Don't give them the bullets."
Right.
It's great advice. Yeah. Don't give them the bullets.
Great analogy.
Let me fast forward here a little bit. So you guys are now you're free agents, right?
Yep.
You've got options, and of course, indies you make for you.
Yeah.
It's fascinating because when I was at WCW, and I got let go for not wanting a job to Jackie, right? Oh. My price was high. Yeah. Well, my price was high, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are in a very tenable position right now. You're not gonna you're gonna make some good money, right?
Right.
But so now you have an option of there's New Japan, there's other companies, right?
Sure.
Sell yourself right now. What do you like? Because when I look at you guys, I think you could obviously be very entertaining in AEW because they have the B and the elite segments.
We'd fit right in on there. No
what you guys have shown, you are very good in producing content, which is bro. This is funny too. It's like wrestling's all fallen under the umbrella of content creation.
Yeah,
who's producing good content and stuff, and ultimately the people that produce good content are the ones that get the most views and generate popularity.
Yeah.
And you guys produce good content. It's like people could criticize anything you do, their match was whatever, but you're producing good content, promos, interviews, something. It's good content.
There's no team out there like us. There is no team like us with this dynamic, with our presence and charisma.
You have those people
some would say charisma,
sure. You'd have some people who, let's say, best high flyer in the world, this, that, whatever it is, whatever your niche is. I think when it comes to this kind of an act of what we do, we're the best. And
nobody can touch it. Nobody can touch it.
Fair game. You're very entertaining.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? So it's so what's going to happen is there's going to be people that just, because it's social media and you're very entertaining on social media, the trolls.
Oh,
the critics, the people that try to
the trolls, please.
So how do you negotiate? How do you navigate your way through that?
You wouldn't believe the amount of times on anything we posted in the last year and a bit. every single post without fail. Oh, this is WWE's Wish version of the Young Bucks.
Oh, yeah.
Every
when you buy the Young Bucks at Walmart or something,
this is
right?
what you get. Or like, he's fake Matt Jackson and I'm Chuck Taylor. Like, yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah. He's the third Jackson, Fat Jackson.
Fat Jackson was the other one. Yeah. Whatever.
Sometimes they're pretty creative.
The fans are savage as fuck, but I will. So I wanted to ask you two quick things before you get out of here. But the first one was, how weird was that Joe, our producer, who has been doing stellar work recently, the first 4 years he didn't do shit.
Burying him. Oh yeah,
1,000%. Nobody fucking
first 3 years.
Yeah. And so he sent us some bullet points, and one of them said that you guys had actually just been signed. So I'm thinking, why the fuck did you sign him to release them?
Yeah, that's fake news though.
Oh, that is fake news?
Yeah, that's fake news. I don't know where that came from.
No
like that
idea.
came out. I'm at the gym on a Friday.
Well, it came from Joe. It came from Joe.
No.
Joe sent me that.
I don't know if it's fake news, Joe.
Our producer that you buried for never providing like any input, that finally provided factual content.
That was unfactual.
Fake.
No,
right.
It was fake news. I read that. I'm like, I wish I signed a new contract.
Nice.
A nice new fat contract. That'd be great. My mother was asking me guys, you guys sign new contracts? No, I'm sorry, Mom.
We still had a ton of time left.
Yeah,
like,
we
we
had
did
time.
sign, but I'm talking like
a year ago.
Yeah, like
2 years ago.
Now, do you have any communication without getting into details? Have you had any talks with any companies yet?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We like to talk.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed. We like to talk.
Perfect. Yeah. That's good. That's good, bro.
I'm not making a prediction. Again, you don't have to answer, right?
Sure.
I definitely think Impact Wrestling is interested in you.
We're interested with anything.
All right.
Like,
so I'm just saying because I know the type of your guys' style would absolutely fit into that culture.
Absolutely.
Like,
For sure, man. We'd love it.
Right.
We'd love to.
And I know that your guys' style would fit into the YouTube content that AEW produces because you guys are good actors.
Hey.
And like the acting.
Disco, you should come be our manager.
Yeah,
man.
come on.
This is great.
Maybe you do the deals.
Come on. What are we doing?
Let me tell you
Maybe Disco's
Yeah. You want 10%?
Here's what I gotta say. This is something that's like every future wrestling. We talked about this earlier before we brought you guys on, but when we started talking about The Rock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you look at what The Rock did with the platform of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Bro, the guy's got 255 million Instagram followers. He's the number one actor in Hollywood. And he started just like from the same thing that we did.
Yep.
You know, and like you look at the strength of what good content provided to people can do, and I've been always been
limit, right? Like
I've always been entertained when I watch you guys. I didn't know anything about you. We talked about the shows. I've been entertained by these guys. They get it. They look like they know what they're doing. Like, and I think you guys have a pretty good future. Like you've been in the business for how long? What, 20 years?
Man.
This is year 20. Yeah.
I think you got, bro, the way you guys work in this climate.
That was always the goal, right?
Yes. You still have at least 10 years left.
Thank you.
You still have at least 10 years left.
Thank you so much.
You know, so thanks
for having us on.
And let me tell you another thing, because I've had the fortune of working for like just about every promotion that's out there right now, except obviously WWE, simultaneously. Mm-hmm. And the dressing room culture is really changing, where you don't have to walk that much on eggshells. It's very collaborative. Like the Impact dressing room, and I've been there for many years, was the coolest I'd ever seen it. This weekend that I was just there, I was just not too long ago in AEW. Really cool atmosphere because it starts with Tony Khan, who's mega fucking cool. You know, MLW, same thing. So you're gonna find very relieved to see that it isn't as stressful as it is in WWE.
For sure.
And here's the other thing I wanted to tell you. This is some advice. Make sure that wherever you sign, and this can be done because a lot of guys are doing it, including myself. Make sure that wherever you sign, you tell them that you want to have the ability to work in other places. Because the companies, I don't know if you've noticed, they're starting to work together. All of them.
What a time.
You know?
It's
like
what
a
time.
Fucking great time. It's really a great time.
You know?
Yeah. Because you've been together 20 years, so you know they never used to work with each other at all. Yeah.
And it's even talking to a lot of our friends in all these different locker rooms. I mean, you've been around. We know we've wrestled almost everybody on every roster who's not super new. And it's like, that's exactly what they're saying. Like you're saying, man, it's just fun. And we have the ability to kind of do what we want and everything's working together. And it's what a time.
Who knows? Like we don't know where we're going to be next week, like it's great.
Right. Well, I hope to run into you on the indies. Maybe one day you might even work with me in AAA. You never know. Hey. That's what's so beautiful about this business.
Let me tell you something. You got an automatic end to Impact because Scott D'Amore is trying to build an army of Canadians to take over the wrestling.
Yeah.
He is.
That's what you do, right?
Because we all have the genome, so we all kind of
they all understand.
You have 10 points higher than any other prospect.
I'll take it. I'll take whatever I can get.
Go to Impact. Right. Cool.
So before you get out of here, bro, what do you guys? Do you guys got a website, a podcast, OnlyFans, a Grinder, whatever the fuck you got? Throw it out there.
I don't promote my Grinder. Come on, but you
Disco does.
Keep that away
Try
from
to be inclusive.
It's the show rules on YouTube. We're going to be going live Thursday, 8 p.m. Spilling the tea. Who knows?
Nice little Q&A. Every Saturday morning, we have the show rules, which is our Saturday morning talk show. We talk about all the news, the scoops, get shoes of the week, all this kind of stuff. We're putting in a lot of energy and a lot of time into this channel. Because like you're saying, man, good content's good content. And right now, like especially, it's stimulating. It's something we got to do it with WWE, but now we can really make it ours. Which is
no limits, right? We do whatever we want now.
Like
it's really something.
And here's the great part that you're gonna love about it, bro. What'll happen is the same thing that happened with our show. It took us 5 years to cultivate the following we have, which thank God has been very loyal and very vast. But at the same time is like you meet a lot of cool people, it becomes like a family kind of, you know what I'm saying? And you monetize it. You know what I'm saying? And here's the great thing. When people write to you and they're like, hey, I was in the hospital and your show made me feel better, or I'm a fucking truck driver and I always put on your fucking show and it helps my day go quicker. That's the type of shit that you're like, right, that is the best shit.
Right.
So good luck with you guys on that. And if you want to, when is that show going to start?
This Thursday is the
Thursday at 8 p.m.
Show,
But
if you could send
up and running now.
If you can send Joe a reminder, we'll fucking plug it on our show. We have a crawler. As you're talking to us, you see a little crawler underneath, right?
Yeah.
So we'll do that for your show. Exactly.
Oh wow, that's very sweet. Thank you.
I really appreciate that.
By the way, try the Manscaped 20% off, and you can use it on your chest, hair, beard, underarm, nether regions. And well, if you ever, maybe your significant other has a beard. Because everybody shaves except German women. So I mean,
wow, a man of experience.
I ate him. Yes. I learned the hard way. Yes.
One more thing. If Conan puts you over, always learn to speak Spanish. Because you never know, like AAA might, you already got it in. So
we speak French,
can't be too hard to pick up. There's similarities.
Hey, Taya picked it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, say learn to speak Spanish. Learn to speak Spanish. Learn to speak Japanese. If you want to easily assimilate yourself into like all the other like income streams.
Is there anything else you want to plug besides your show that starts this Thursday?
The normal stuff.
Your Twitter, Facebook.
Pro Wrestling Tees, Cameo. The show rules on Cameo. We're getting into that. That's fun. That's a great time.
Right?
Yeah.
Twitter's Chase Parker WWE, Matt Martell WWE. We're working on it.
We got to change those handles.
We're working on it.
You got to change the handles.
I mean,
no, just keep them. Well, keep them. Like, wait, time out.
In the marketplace.
No, because now when people advertise you, WWE superstar Chase Parker, the WWE like advertising symbol is like whatever, so you use it. So
not wrong.
We'll see. I don't know. I feel like we got to change it, but he brings up a good point.
It's a good point.
And let me bring you up one little factoid before we get out of here. Andrew Dawson, the great Andrew Dawson, went to the same high school I did in Miami Southwest. Now, I want to thank you guys for being on, keeping it 100. Boom! Yeah. All right.
Thank you very much, guys.
Cool. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much, guys. It was a blast.
All right.
Take it easy.
Have a good night, man.
You too. So, Joe, make sure you get that information from them, okay? So we can plug their shit.
Yeah, I just put their...
That was pretty good.
That was good.